So, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I certainly did. I took yesterday off, but now it's back to the grind. And the grind was perfectly set up because while I was scrolling through the internet, I saw a rumor for UFC London in 2025 that actually I never thought they'd be talking about putting this in the works and probably finalizing it. Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. Now, when I saw this, let's be real about that Oliveira fight. Michael Chandler obviously has declined from the time off and his current age. A lot of people who are saying Charles Oliveira is even more overpowered. He didn't finish Chandler this time, despite Chandler obviously looking a little bit slower and a little bit worse objectively. I'm going to have to wait and see how Oliveira does in his title fight. I don't think he's going to win it. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I felt like both those guys looked a little bit older. I mean, it looks impressive because they're fighting each other when they fought previously, but we got to wait till both them fight who's hot now. And Oliveira's fighting who's hot now in Islam, while Michael Chandler fights Paddy Pimblett. And Paddy Pimblett, despite how you feel about him, I know that he is not above criticism in any way, but when I watched that Bobby Green fight, what I saw was a guy who has only gotten better. And he's taking all the doubters and the haters, and he's using it to fuel his MMA journey. The guy's on kind of a tear, and I think he's erased a majority of the doubt from that Jared Gordon fight, and his career trajectory. Now, do I think that Jared Gordon fight was potentially a robbery? Yes, I think that Jared Gordon won that fight, but I think through that, Paddy Pimblett grew, beat Tony Ferguson, and now he's against Bobby Green. He wasn't able to take the Renato Moicano fight, which I would have liked to see a little bit more just because I'm getting in love with the idea of high-level grappling matches in the UFC that don't require a whole lot of striking, like with Sterling versus Movzar. I actually enjoyed watching that. The guys were switching up positions. They were going for submissions. They were defending submissions. So it's amazing to see the sport go from stand them up to let's see what they do while they're down. But we're not getting that. Now we're seeing a former NCAA guy who's slowing down and losing tread fast versus Paddy Pimblett, who is proving the doubters wrong consistently. Now, obviously, who do I have as a favorite if this happens? Paddy Pimblett, because, like I said, all the reasons above. And this is Michael Chandler's last chance for a good note at the UFC. Because Michael Chandler right now is being hated on online relentlessly. And I think, honestly, the way that he tried to call out McGregor after losing to Oliveira a second time, that did not help. The way he handled himself in that interview did not help. I'm going to say, like Paddy Pimblett, he's earned his criticism too. He's in denial. I think he's played a lot of the cards right for his UFC run very wrong. I think he doesn't want to admit that Conor McGregor played him. The guy's definitely got a bad case of denial. Do I think he can beat Paddy and get that one last high note? Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Not necessarily because I'm rooting against Paddy, but I do like seeing a redemption story in Michael Chandler. Just like I enjoy seeing Paddy Pimblett's redemption from the Jared Gordon fight. I like seeing him turn it around and then making it undeniable. That to me is great. So honestly, yeah, I got Paddy as my favorite right now. I think he's honestly going to stepping stone Chandler. And if you think the same, I don't think you're delusional at all. We're seeing the writing on the wall. Chandler's in that perfect, easy target spot to be fed to someone who's really coming up. And it would actually make the Paddy haters really mad if he submits Michael Chandler in the first round even. I don't know if that's going to happen. I see it going the distance. But I do see Paddy Pimblett edging it out a little bit. But I'm glad it's happening now. Because this is a fight where if you kick the can down the road, Michael Chandler's only going to get older. And the older he gets, the worse he's going to look against Paddy Pimblett. So it's better that they set this up now, where at least Michael Chandler has a puncher's chance, where if he were to fight someone else, like a safe fight, and maybe prolong Father Time, and then by the time Paddy actually got to him, it would be such an easy win for Paddy that it could honestly justify him going for a title shot and skipping the line, especially if you know how the UFC likes to push certain fighters where other fighters have to work super hard. And I know a lot of people right now, it happens to a lot of fighters that a lot of people like to hate on. Sean O'Malley gets hated on by a lot of the fans. UFC pushes him because he had star potential. But Merab, who had to work really hard, defeated him. You have Ian Gary, who a lot of people love to hate, but if you look at his fighting record right now, the one guy to really put Shavkat in any sort of danger like that, over 5 rounds, made him look human. And Paddy Pimblett, a lot of people loving to hate him, but the UFC's pushing him because he is going to put butts in the seats because people either want to see him win or they want to see him lose. And this might be a perfect setup for him to get a title shot. But if it happens now, at least for the Paddy the Baddy haters, I got news. Michael Chandler might prove me and a lot of people wrong and stop the bad guy that you guys love to hate on so much before he gets launched into a title fight. But that's what I got to say. I'll see you on the next one. Glad it's happening now because this is the best Michael Chandler is ever going to look in his career ever. Once he starts reaching near the 40s range, you're going to see a really rapid decline for a fighter. But yeah, peace out. Merry Christmas once again. See you on the next.